Welcome back to another edition of Flight Tying for Beginners with Jim Misiura. Today we're going to tie a shellback Scud. The hook that I have in the vise is a Scud hook, and of course it is curved. You can tie this from size 6 to 16, 6 or 8 to 16. First thing we're going to do is put on some lead-free wire or lead wire depending on your state regulations, but I'm going to use lead-free wire, and we're going to put on maybe about a dozen wraps here, and we're going to keep those wraps right in the middle, and we'll break off that back section. This is going to be an olive one. I'm going to use olive thread, and this is Hemingway 6/0. Very good thread. And we're going to start the thread behind the eye, and I'm going to hold that lead in place so I don't push it, and once I get it on top of the lead wraps, I can continue. Then we're going to start at the rear, so we're going to leave that there. I'm going to take my hook and just turn that some. There we go. And we're about almost halfway down the bend. For our tail and antenna, I'm going to use, you can use Goose Biots. This is turkey Biots. I have a dyed turkey quill, so I'm going to use these turkey Biots. And the big difference between the goose and the turkey is how thick they are. These you can almost see through. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull them apart completely. I'm going to trim off those pigtails. And we're going to put the tail on first. We want the tail to be somewhere around half the length of the body. Actually going to hold it towards my side a little bit. Take that loose loop and then pull it up and tight. And that's going to be right on top. And that's about good on the length. Put a couple of wraps on there. I'm going to fold it back, and I'm going to put a wrap on top of it. Now I'm going to take the other one. I'm going to straighten that out. I'm going to take the other one and trim off that pigtail. And I'm going to measure my antenna. Okay, I want it that long from the eye. And then I'm going to see where I'm going to tie it in. So I have about 1/4 of an inch on the back here that I'm going to tie it in at. So I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to tie it about 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to tie that in place. So now I have them both on there. Now I'm going to put a rib in there, and for the rib I'm going to use some pearl crystal flash. And what I do with my crystal flash, I cut a hole in the corner, and then you can use your whip finish, the hook on your whip finish, to go in there and pick out just a couple at a time, and you don't get a big mess. I'm going to use 2 of the pearl crystal flash, and the reason I'm using 2 is when you wrap the rib, you kind of have a tendency to pull it, and this will stretch. So I'm going to use 2. And we'll just tie those in. Doesn't really matter how long you have the tag end, just so long as it's not sticking off the front. And I can put them up in my material clip. Now for the body, I'm going to turn that over, and I'm going to use Olive Rabbit. I'm going to take my wax and wax that thread up pretty good, and a pretty long section too, probably 6-7 inches. I'm going to take the dubbing. I'm not going to put this on really light, but you want to have a lot. You want to have a lot on there because rabbit will compact easily. And the other reason is that we're going to pick it out. So I'm going to put that on there pretty tight too, and a pretty good amount. Let's see how far this will get me. Don't be afraid to go over with your dubbing noodle. You're making about a half a wrap. Not putting them together like this, but overlapping them a little. I'm going to need a little bit more on there. And that's a very fat noodle for me. And when we get up here, I have too much, so I'm just going to go back and then bring it forward again. And we'll clean up that head a little bit. And you want to stay a good eye length from the eye of the hook. Now the first thing we're going to do is take our antenna biot and fold that over. And you can see that antenna is sticking out there pretty good. And you want this on the top, but you also want to have a wide shell, so you want it a little bit over to the side. Then we're going to take the second one, we're going to fold that over, and we're only going to slightly overlap that, so that we have a nice fat shell there, almost a double. Going to grab that there we go. Straighten out that antenna. Now I could go ahead and trim that off nice and close. Clean that up just a little bit. Now I'm going to take my rib and we're going to wrap this. And I'm just twisting them together. Make them a little bit stronger. Then we're going to palmer these up. Okay, that one, then there we go. It's sliding. Let's back that off. This is why I say it stretches and you'll pull it, because you have to stretch it, make it tight so it doesn't slide on you. And then we're going to tie that off. And we can get rid of that crystal flash. Now we have a nice wide back with some nice flash inside. I'm going to take my whip finish, put the hook over the thread around the camel hump, bring it back, invert it. There's our X. Slide the X down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 to 6 wraps. Tighten it in there. Go ahead and trim that off. Now you can take some head cement and put it on there and put it on the shell. Or you can also take some UV cure and very light amount of the UV cure, because I found that if you put it on there too heavy, what's going to happen is it's going to come off. So we get just a very light amount on there, and don't try to get it all with your brush. You can take your bodkin needle and help to get it into place also. We'll take my UV light, give that just a couple of seconds on there. Okay, now we got a hard shell back. Now I'm going to take my dubbing teaser and I'm going to tease this out. And this teasing the body is another reason that you got to keep that rib tight. You can use a wire rib if you want. Yeah, sometimes just going from the side is better. And right in that back section there we go. And if you have some that are too long, you could go ahead and pluck them off. But as you fish it, it's going to kind of go away. Got a couple of real long ones there. I don't even know if you could see it. There we go. And here we have an olive shellback scud. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe, please hit the notify button and refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Let them know that I sent you. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. If you'd like to purchase any flies for me, go to etsy.com/shop/theflymanjim. And if you don't see it there on my page, just send me a message and tell me what you're looking for, and we'll figure it out. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.